I thought that because of what Black Lives Matter have been saying, that I thought no African Americans would vote for Trump again.
Well, I mean, on contrary, I mean, I think black people in this country, Black Lives Matter is really not an organization representing black people. It is a fascist, socialist, anti-American, homeland terrorist group that is essentially hijacking corporate America to supporting the BLM movement. It is not really standing for the at-risk communities or bringing economic empowerment to low-income, family, disenfranchised communities in our urban communities. That's exactly what the president has done. I mean, the number one person that's given the most amount of money to historically black colleges and universities in the history of HBCUs has been President Donald Trump. And then again, what he just committed, we're talking about tangible things, not what Black Lives Matter screaming and marching and yelling and taking a knee and all these things that are forcing American companies to bow down to the wheel so they don't feel less racist while not actually giving black communities
hang on,
and
Mark,
minorities tangible real things.
Aren't you going to get into a lot of trouble having a go at BLM in America? Because I thought if you had a go at them in America, then the whole of the community would turn against you, because reading the news over here, as far as I could see, the African Americans are totally against Trump, totally against the police, totally against what has been going on.
Well, I mean, like I said, that is true for other corporate America organizations, not necessarily myself, but for other corporate America organizations. They are feeling led to BLM, Black Lives Matter, have forced them. It is almost like ransom. You support me, we won't come after you. That is not love. And that is not changing the hearts of people. It's just making people afraid to speak out the truth. BLM, just yesterday, one of the Black Lives Matter leaders was just arrested by the FBI for spending hundreds of thousands of donation dollars that was designed to help push the movement forward to bring awareness to what they stand for. He's spending it on suits. He's spending it on cars. He's spending it on buying houses. It's a corrupt system. And people are understanding that. Now, again, black people are not going to publicly say they vote for Donald Trump. There is a growing movement of black conservatives and black Americans that are publicly standing behind President Trump, but not that many. Privately, Donald Trump is going to get the most black vote in the history of the Republican Party since Abraham Lincoln. He's going to get the most black votes, hands down. And I'm talking about former Democrats. I'm talking about people who don't really care so much for Donald Trump, but they care about his policies, because his policies are actually bringing real change to black Americans.
But hang on, haven't his policies caused America to have so many deaths from this virus that we're all talking about at the moment? Hasn't he mishandled that completely?
Well, I don't think that. I think this is a situation that would have happened, to be honest with you, regardless of who's president. I think the president has made it very clear. And again, I was on these task force calls, the coronavirus task force calls, the moment that they happened. So I'm telling you firsthand, way back in January, when we began to have these conversations about what has to take place and what we need to do to make sure that American businesses continue to move forward. And then once the virus hit and the pandemic actually hit, how are we going to reopen America safely? How are we going to make sure everybody gets the help that they need? I've been on the ground level, speaking with I'm leading the conversations with American Surgeon General, leading conversations with Task Force member Secretary Ben Carson, and being on these conference calls with these gentlemen, men and women who are leading these task force, and knowing firsthand what the president has been doing prior to and what the president is doing during the pandemic. And I know, his political enemies are pretty good at painting him out to be negligent in taking care of Americans during this pandemic, but that is contrary to the fact. This president, from day one, once we discovered what it was, once we knew what it was, has been 100% behind making sure that Americans be safe.
Why does his publicity make him look so bad, particularly over here? I mean, the reports that we get in the news over here make him look really like a bumbling fool, and it doesn't do Joe Biden any better either. It makes them both look like they should be put out to grass.
Maybe that's the truth.
Well, I'm glad you're making that strong observation, because that is very true. And it's not just what's happening over there in the UK or how they've been portrayed in the UK, but it's most definitely happening here in America. I mean, the media has extremely biased. I mean, they've been against Donald Trump the moment he announced. I was there a week after he came down the famous escalator at Trump Hotel, Trump Towers in New York, and I was there back in 2015. On the ground level, before when all 15, 16 candidates were still running for the nomination, I was there. So I'm telling you firsthand, the media has been against Donald Trump from day one. They have not been playing fair, and they only find the negative things about Donald Trump, and they're excluding the millions upon millions of American supporters that vote for him and that still stand behind him now. I mean, if you were just using just the media alone in 2016 and in 2020 as a gauge whether if Donald Trump is going to be elected or reelected, then you would believe, like in 2016, he has no chance to be president. But again,
let me just
is just that, the silent majority, and they're going to show up to vote for Donald Trump again in 2020.
Let me just come back on that. We have a listener who listens to us every night in Birmingham, Alabama, who is very upset with you. She says, BLM isn't fascist. Love you all, but I can't listen to this man. He's absolutely has not given the most money to HBCUs. That is just a lie. And Trump only got 8% of the black vote in 2016, according to the BBC.
That is absolutely true. He only got 8% of the black vote in 2016, where Mitt Romney received 6% of the black vote before Donald Trump. He got more black people supporting him. He's going to get 13 to 14% in 2020. Now, understand, the Democratic Party cannot win a national election unless they have at least 13 to 14% of the black vote on a national level. So, listen, the race is over. The fact is, he has supported. He is the number one giver. Facts. I'm not making this up.
What about giver to tax? He's not the number one giver in tax, is he?
Well, you don't know. That's just media chat.
Well, I know it's from a leak, isn't it?
Well, listen, CNN pointed out yesterday, when CNN brought out the experts and they pointed out that Trump's farmer accounting, and Trump farmer accounting, who is not a fan of the president, clearly stated he has no idea how the New York Times were able to even discuss or talk about what has paid in income taxes, because those figures are not even on that particular form that the New York Times has. So even though he's not a fan of the president, he thinks these numbers are made. He himself don't understand how they even coming up with those figures.
Right, okay.
Well, because I would have thought if that had been the case, it would have been easily proven.
He's probably got very good tax experts that mitigate it. You know, this is how it works. When you're very, very rich, you pay very little tax. That's just how it works, isn't it?
Let's listen, Mark.
I think what's relevant is that Americans in this country prior to COVID-19 was on the strongest, most economic empowerment around the nation. The Americans are not going to forget that.